It started out great. We were in Isla Morada having a great time baking in the sun, and then we went out in the water and it went all wrong. First day was a heck of a beat. Really beat us up, but we got to play a little MacGyver. We actually broke a port arm out of the tiller, out of the rudder casting, and while we were going really slow, he managed to find a pair of pliers, jam them into the hole, use about 12 zip ties to hold it together, put the rest of it back together, zip tied it, and put about a half a roll of Gorilla Tape on it, and we were able to sail in actually under a pretty good time. Second leg, a little rough at the start, little worse conditions, but even out pretty good until about halfway through, and we started hearing this really scary popping noise. It turned out we had a beam. The beam bolts were actually coming out of the hole, and we had the same problem last year. Thought we had repaired it, and it didn't work.
Well, we had the same problem last year at Fernandina. We were coming into Fernandina and noticed that the hole was flexing away from the rear crossbar. So essentially the plates that hold the crossbar to the hole were popping through the deck, and got back to the house after we had to pull out of the race last year. And took that apart, reseated the plates, through bolted those through with fender washers underneath to give us some strength. It turns out that wasn't good enough, and we had the same problem again this year. So we noticed some popping sounds coming from the crossbar, and made us a little nervous. When we got into the beach yesterday, the cracks were kind of reappearing on both sides of the boat, the same kind of failure. So Bjorn, our ground crew, stepped up, and we came up with an idea to through bolt the crossbar even better. So we used we have stainless steel pieces that are about a 1/4 inch thick, maybe about 1 inch and 10 inches, so the two bolts would cut through the same piece of steel, and essentially made it so you had to rip the whole deck out to get that crossbar out. But then today, with the winds, conditions were actually a lot lighter, maybe 12 or 14 knot winds out there. But anytime we got the boat up on a heel, it got some real speed into it. You could hear the tearing kind of a sound again. So obviously whatever we're doing wasn't working very well. So it got to the point where we didn't feel like we needed to be out in the middle of somewhere and have to pull an E-perv for that if we knew it was a problem already. So just kind of came to the realization that our boat's a great boat. It's been through an awful lot. It's a 99, it's a Seacats, it's sailed in the Morel. So I think fatigue has just kind of gotten it over the years. So it's time to get another boat and come back at it with something we have a little more faith in the equipment.
How many years you been doing this race?
Well, this is our second year as competitors. Unfortunately, we haven't finished one yet. We'll give that a shot again. But we were ground crew for David Leonard and Mike Krantz for several years.
Two great guys.
And one of the last Morel we ground crewed. So that's kind of where we got introduced to the distance races. And I'm not very fast at buoy races, and I'm not very fast at distance races, but I have a little bit more fun on distance races. I like coming out, and you get a little bit more time to really play with the settings to feel when the boat's fast. And in a buoy race, by the time I've got it even close, it's time to tack or it's time to job downwind. So I kind of enjoy the ability to get out and it might take hours to really dial in and feel like we're really doing something right.
How do you feel this race would be for some newcomers coming in that are really, they want a challenge, but it doesn't last over X amount of days? You know, this race goes for about a week.
Right.
I mean, and that's the way we set it up. But we made it where it was that it could be grueling at times. Everything surrounds around the weather. And what made you want to do the race, and what's the things that attracted you to the race and attracts other sailors that want to do it?
Well, it's like the Tour de France of bicycle races. I mean, if you're going to sail cats, beach cats, and you want to do a distance race, you do the Tybee 500. I don't know of anything else. Maybe Texas 300's a race is popular, but they all kind of come on the heels of the Tybee 500 right now. It's just kind of the premier race to do. So, I mean, I think our motivation was just to get in here and finish it, which now we got to come back again. So,
and I'd recommend that anybody wanting to do it, try to get on as a ground crew first.
See what it's all about. It's like you said, you can't predict the weather, so you're going to get down here and you're going to sail in what there is. And we came into the race knowing that if the weather forecast come up or we get out on the beach in the morning and it's blowing 35, that's above our limit. We can't do that. In the 20s, we're pretty happy, but we get to a survival mode, and that's when I'm not having any fun anymore. So we kind of knew walking in that if the weather turned really bad, we know our stopping point. I think that's important for people to know, especially newcomers. You know, if you don't have a ton of experience, especially open water like we know, we're lake sailors most of the time. So, you know, just know where your limits are, but you can't beat it for the people that you meet, the people you get to have dinner with. You know, you're hanging out with the guys that are just the fastest people in the world, and that's kind of fun in itself. And a lot of people we met as ground crew for the last several years, you know, are the people that are on boats again now. You know, so it's kind of like it's an evolution. You go from a ground crew and kind of learn the ropes, and then you kind of feel more prepared to actually push off yourself.
You guys fill in with Seacats, with Frank and his group, and what have you, and I would take it that he was quite helpful in bringing you guys along.
If it wasn't for him, I don't think we'd be here.
Yeah, he's really proactive, trying to get new people onto the scene. He wants to keep the race going, making it bigger, better. Not necessarily better, but just have a bigger turnout. More people get the word out on it. And we've known Jake's obviously cruised with Frank, and we've known him forever. So that's kind of how we got in touch with Frank.
Anything you want to shoot from the hip? And it's an open mic.
I want to shoot Ryan.
We'll bring him over here for you.
Now, and those guys, you need to watch these guys because they're all the up and comers. You know. I mean,
it's great to see a lot of young people.
You got Trey bringing all these guys, all these all the college kids or the recent grads coming out here, and that's the fresh blood coming in.
It was one of the ideas when we formatted this race was to make it a stepping stone as a confidence builder or what, but we had to make it challenging too. I'm sure that in the time, even when you were ground crewing, you guys most likely saw what those challenges can be.
Oh, sure.
You get a screaming reaching day, and then you can get a we all night.
Yeah,
we slept on the beach.
Yeah,
we slept on the beach.
We came into the Cocoa stop at 1:45, something like that in the morning. Everything just died.
We've been on the beach with
it's challenging no matter how you look at it. You're either trying to get your mind out of the fact you've got another 10 hours to go and it's already starting to get dark, or you're just trying to hold on to the boat. Either you're going to be challenged somehow, either mentally, physically, or both.
Well, guys, we appreciate your participation. We're sorry this is the way that you got to go out of it, and due to equipment failure.
I'm 41. I'm 41, and my partner's 40, and we're just happy that the boat broke before we did. And
I'd rather have a boat injury than a personal injury. So,
and I agree.
It's all good. And the great thing is, as it turns out, there's some people down the beach with some broken parts that were scrambling trying to figure out spares. We've got them, so they're going to keep going.
Well, another thing you need to keep in mind with this race, or just for people to know about this race, is, we broke a hole, or our holes are kind of shot. This afternoon, Alex Schaefer's on the phone offering us a hole. You get help from everywhere.
Jamie.
Nobody's kind of waiting for somebody to break something to get a spot ahead. The minute you break something, somebody's on the beach handing you something.
People are watching.
Jamie Livingston showed up, and actually he had a broken spreader bar on his harness. Jamie noticed it, went home and got one, and met our ground crew out on the interstate, so we'd have it when we got here.
I mean, the people that are just in this kind of sailing is the reason that we're in this kind of sailing. I mean, I've done Melges regattas where people don't want you to look at their boat because don't look how I set something up, and everybody here is telling you how to set it up faster. What to do.
And I want you to know, it's people like you is what wanted me to put a race on like this, so you had that opportunity to say that you did it.
Well, without people like you, the race wouldn't be here.
We appreciate you and the whole team you put together. They do a great job.
Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the beach next time.
We'll be here.
We'll try.
God bless.
Thanks.